Well, hello and welcome to DocChristine Skin Saturdays. I am Dr. Christine Sauer, or Doc Christine, and I am like the lady in the picture. I take my magnifying glass and look on your skin and under your skin and in all of your body and look at it from all sides and search for the root of your health problems. That's what I do best. A little comment to this series. I hope you're not watching just this episode, which is the first one of a longer series where I will introduce not only how the skin is structured and functions, but also the basics of common skin diseases and maybe a few a little more rare ones, and what we can do about it with natural means from the inside and out, how to care for your skin properly, and what to do if you already have some problems like many people nowadays suffer from itching or any other symptoms like that that really point to a deeper cause. Now, today, I just want to say hi again, and I want to invite you all to register for the whole series on the event in Facebook because that has the advantage that at that point you are sure not to miss anything, and that you are also at the same point not only not missing anything, but that you are registered and get reminded for the whole series. And sometimes in the replay link in your email, you will get interesting links and offers. So please feel free to register for free for the whole series. I will also post the videos later, not only on Facebook, but also on my YouTube channel. And you are very welcome to go to my YouTube channel also and watch what's up there. Now, for those that don't know me, I am a German trained physician, conventional and naturopathic physician. I'm a board certified in Germany dermatologist, which in Germany means skin diseases and autoimmune diseases, and also skin oncology, skin cancers. We treat them as dermatologists together with other specialties. I'm also board certified for allergies, naturopathic medicine, as well as leg vein diseases, which is called phlebology. I'm now happily living since 20 years in Nova Scotia, Canada, which is just a beautiful place of earth, and I fell in love not only with the countryside and the lovely people here in Nova Scotia, but also with my dear husband who was born and raised here. And it's just beautiful to be at the ocean side and have all that. And we have a little house and we have some chickens in the backyard. And I love to garden and to cook. And it's great fun to can to be able to do all that and also help as many people as I can, which really is my passion. I want to help you get clear, glowing, healthy skin from the inside out. And this series will show you how to. And I invite you also, if you have any need for individualized advice, feel free to book a free appointment on the phone with me. It's convenient, easy, no hassle, and we can talk about how we can get your skin and your whole body healthy again. All right, let's go to the content. I'll start the slideshow because today, in the first episode, I want to introduce you to a little bit what's under the skin. What is the skin? So let's get started. And we'll go to the first slide. And did you know the skin is our largest organ? The anatomy is quite interesting. I'm not sure if you can see my marker, but the top of it is the epidermis here on the right, anatomy of human skin. On the top of the epidermis is actually the horny layer that protects our skin from the environment and is essential for temperature regulation and more. Underneath the epidermis is the so-called dermis, which is an elastic layer underneath the protective layer and contains, we will see that in a later picture, all the little organs that tell us where we are and what we are feeling. To get the overview, when we feel our skin, we feel the epidermis, and when we twinge it to the side, that's the dermis, and underneath the dermis with the blood vessels and nerves and connective tissue is the superficial fascia. The fascia is a layer of connective tissue that separates different kind of tissues from each other and also provides elasticity for the skin and structure for lymph vessels and blood vessels and nerves, and also surrounds all our muscles. The tendons are really nothing else but the fascia of the muscles, the outer layer, when it flows together at the end of the muscle and then attaches to the bones. So the superficial fascia mainly holds the fatty tissue together and prevents it from bulging. So sometimes when you see little bulges, especially on your lower legs and the heels on the side, there's a little hernia, you could say, a little hole in the fascia, a little weak spot, and a little fatty lobe pops out just when you step on your feet. So that can happen, and it's quite harmless, but it's often confused with something serious. Now, underneath the superficial fascia, underneath the dermis, lays fat cells. Those fat cells not only insulates us, but we know that they are hormonally active and support the skin and support the whole body. There's reserve fat, and below is the muscle layer. So there's a whole lot of structures between the skin that we can see and the muscles that we can feel under the skin. Now next, let's see what's in the skin when there's hair around. Now it gets a little more complicated, and I just want to show you that the structures are still the same. Here's the epidermis. Now it's a little wavy. You would say there's goosebumps. Has nothing to do with poultry, of course. There's the epidermis again, there's the dermis, there's the fatty tissue, and there's the muscle tissue. So now what we see is the hair, and the hair goes a whole big part underneath the epidermis, underneath the outer layer of the skin, and it takes a few days to weeks for hair after you ripped it out to grow back. So that's why it's so difficult to get rid of hairs, because a hair, when you try to get it with a laser or with an with an electric curette, you have to follow the shaft very exactly to the bottom, which can be curved, especially in dark-skinned people, and is sometimes quite difficult to achieve. That's why often several sessions are necessary for an epilation. Now, the layer here is called the papillary layer of the dermis because it's little like fingers that are growing into the subcutaneous part of the dermis. The lower part of the epidermis grows into the dermis and keeps it together. That's important because when those junctions don't work properly, you can easily get blisters and bullae, and there is diseases of the skin where they happen, and you yourself know when you walk too much in shoes that rub and rub, those little structures get eroded and a blister forms. There's also blood vessels, and there's sebaceous glands. Those are very important fatty glands that not only produce sebum, which we know from the hair follicles in our face. Yes, even women have hair follicles in the face, just they have very fine hair, usually, that you can hardly see. And we'll get further into that later on. Those sebaceous glands also produce little hormones and sometimes inflammatory substances. And the skin follicles, of course, are connected to the upper layer of the dermis, and the epidermis stick out of there. And those little pores are often uh, part of the microbiome of the skin. And if unhealthy pathogenic bacteria or other organisms invade the hair follicle, you have a little abscess or an ingrown and infected hair or a folliculitis. Now, there also are hard to pronounce little corpuscles, the Pacinian, and there's others, we'll get to them. Those are there for touch. They call them mechanoreceptors because those little structures actually tell you when somebody just touches your hair without touching the skin. So there's very fancy receptors in the skin. And we'll see that even better on the next slide. Yeah, that is quite complicated. And it shows you all the little structures of the skin that contribute to the skin functioning. And we have here 3 nerve endings that end in the skin and in the hair root and show not only touch and pressure, but also pain, which is called nociception, because noci is something foreign, something bad. They also tell you other things, for example, mechanical pressure. So the 3 nerve endings are numerous and are very important because it's very important that you know when your skin hurts right away, so you can pull your hand from the hot oven plate and so on. Then we have Meissner's corpuscles, we have Krause's endbands, Pacinian corpuscles. Any others? No, those are other mechanoreceptors that show you, for example, touch, light touch, that sometimes get shut down after a while. So that's why when you sit on a chair, you feel it while you sit down, but after a while, you don't feel the chair anymore because those corpuscles have stopped firing. They are used to the pressure and are peaceful. Others show you the pressure for a longer time. So that's why when you concentrate on your bottom while sitting on a chair, you can feel it. So there's 2 different types of sensation, one that turns off very fast, the other one that takes longer. Those receptors and 3 nerve endings also react with many chemicals that the skin and the blood vessels and the immune cells produce, and produce not a pain sensation, but often an itch sensation, even though you can see nothing. Those is a chemical reaction. Then of course, there's little muscles in the skin. Those muscles are attached to a hair follicle. That's how goosebumps are made. So when it's cold, the muscle is called erector pili. When the muscle pulls together, the hair stands up and increases the thickness of the fur, if you're an animal, or our hair, and keeps the wind a little bit more off your skin. Then there's the sebaceous glands and the sweat glands, and there's eccrine and exocrine sweat glands. And only the exocrine sweat glands produce a sweat that smells. And they are only in your private area under the arms. So only those areas where you have the body odor. So why wash everything else? It's just watery sweat with toxins, but they wash off with water. And also with minerals, and the sebaceous glands also produce fatty acids that keep the skin soft and pliable and moist. So if you remove the man-made, our own skin care layer that the skin produces itself from what you eat, that's very important, then you get dry, crackly skin and those little micro cracks, even if you can't see them, those stimulate those free nerve endings and make them produce a itchy feeling. That's why dry skin itches. Then we have the blood vessels. The blood vessels are important not just to provide the cells with oxygen, but also for regeneration. They also carry the immune cells to the skin. They are very important in the skin, and we'll get to that in a later episode. These immune cells and other phytochemicals that those immune cells produce can also play a big role in skin disease, itching sensation, and even building of wheals, like urticaria is a wheal. Now I think I gave enough little stimulus for today. We'll stop it here, and I want to thank you very much for being on my Facebook Live today, and I hope to see you again next Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Thanks. Bye-bye.